You just wait 2 minutes and then look at the protest from ITC on the campus.
Your voice is breaking actually.
Is it better now?
Yeah, button.
The audio, video, everything clear? Any issue with audio?
No, it's better now.
It's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying all of you have shortlist from ITC, right? Anyone who is wanting to apply, so that this session will not be very relevant. This is for those who have already received the shortlist and they have received the application form, and you want to fill that application form, right? So I will be sharing my screen with the application form. Just let me know once it's visible. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So it is not a very complicated form. It is simple. So whatever easy parts are there, things like basic details, name, all those things, I will just be very quickly going through it. If you have any doubts, you stop me here and there, and then I'll explain it in more detail. But more, I think explanation will be needed on the last part. That we have some questions on things like why do you want to join IT, those kind of questions. Okay. So I'll just go through this format. It is all these instructions are pretty clear. Right, nothing is really explained as such here. So page 1 is there. Here you in the physical form it was easier. You just had to paste a photo here. In the online form, what you will have to do is you'll have to delete this particular section and you'll have to insert image and you'll get the photo here. Okay. Now, there's another issue that here it is written, you are requested to use Arial font 9. But in the form, when you go and you see, it is written that there is another font it is given. So it is fine, you can use either one. Either you can change the entire font of this document to Arial font 9, or you can use the default font which they have used and fill the form. Okay. You need to, this is your student registration number, name, this is their full name, date of birth, nothing as such to discuss here. All this is also,
Sir, your audio is not clear.
audio is not clear. Okay.
Yes.
Is it better now?
No, sir, actually.
Better. Just check if it is fine now. I changed my Wi-Fi network. If it's not fine, you can tell me. I'll try some other method.
Your voice is breaking, sir. It's not actually clear.
Hello. Okay, so I've connected using another device. You can tell me whether the audio is better
Sir,
now.
it's good, sir. It's better now.
It's fine. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I was just discussing till where could you hear, or I'll start from the beginning?
Sir, please start from the beginning.
Okay. Okay. So, I will see all these instructions are more or less clear. So, wherever you feel that I will be skipping a few sections which are very easy, straight away you can understand. Supposing you have any doubt in any particular section, then you stop me. Usually, it is the questions at the end, जहाँ पे थोड़ा you'll have some issues on how to fill them. So I'll be spending more time on that, but I'll still cover the entire application form. So wherever anything that needs to be said, I'll mention that. Otherwise, you can stop me. Okay. These instructions are quite simple. Nothing as such is needed. Delete the instruction page. Don't leave any section blank. A passport size photo. Okay. So here, first page you'll have to delete. That's all. Nothing else here. In the second part, here this photo in physical form you have to paste a photo, but now since it's online, you'll have to delete this particular box and you'll have to insert image and insert your photo here. Okay, always you have to choose a professional photo and insert it. Here there is this question on this part that Arial font 9. They've said Arial font 9, but when you go to the form and see, you will find that the font is something else. So in this form, the font is something else, and here the font is written Arial font size 9. So you can use either one. You can either change the entire document to Arial font 9, or you can just use the default font which is written here, and you can fill the form using that. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Okay. Here you have to enter name, unique number, nothing to mention here. All this is also fine. This is also fine. Nothing to mention. This is also fine. Here also nothing as such. Supposing if this is there, you'll have to, you please consult with me separately that if there's, some illness, whether we want to mention it, whether you don't want to mention it, depends from situation to situation. So you ask me in personal chat that if you feel that this could be applicable to you. Okay. This is also, nothing as such to mention. Nothing to mention. Here, this is a slightly a tricky part. What you have to do is one will be definitely your principal, whoever was in articleship, whoever was your direct manager, direct CA under whom you have worked. That person's name you can put. Supposing you don't have a good relation with that person for whatever reason, then avoid putting that name. You have to get some other name, and any of the other anyone's name you can mention here. So things like school, college, principal, all these that are mentioned here. Okay. On this now, usually when they go for background verification, there is a scope that you can change it later also. So supposing if you are having some doubt, then also it's fine. You can mention any names which come to your mind straight away and mention here. Later down when they will asking these people, they'll again give you this option that you give them three people or the offer letter. Okay, so after the offer letter, they will be contacting them. And okay, so here, supposing you're not able to find someone, you can just try to have any contact from your any person that your parents know or any senior that you know, you can just mention their names. Okay. Next is here also nothing as such needs to be mentioned, just your class 10, 12. Supposing if any other degrees you have. So all those things also you mentioned. Supposing CFA is there or CS is there. So company secretary, actually there's another form, another area where you can mention company secretary or cost accountant. So you don't need to mention it here, but whatever additional degrees you have, you try to mention it here only. Okay. Academic achievements and scholarships, again, you can just mention it here. Other qualifications. So, all these things you can mention it either place, right? Supposing if it's a qualification, you can mention it here. Supposing if it's an education, you can mention it here, and you can go ahead with this. Okay. Here, always you have to write yes, because ITC is a company where you are expected that you will have to in education, we have to skip CA part and give it below. Yes. So in education, you can skip CA part or you can include it. See, actually, what I generally advise is that you can mention it here also, right? The other qualification. If you want, you can mention it here. If you don't want, it won't make a difference because they know that you're a CA, but you can take a choice. Okay, what was I saying? Right. So here you have to always mention yes. If you mention no here, then there's a chance that you will be rejected even without the interview. Okay. Student registration number, membership number, you have to mention. Okay. Here, very simple. Just enter your entire marks and do it. Here, articleship form also you have to just normally mention partners. Supposing if you know the exact number of partners, you can mention the exact number of partners, exact number of qualified assistants. If you don't know the exact number, you can mention an approximate number. Significant clients you can mention, nature of work you can mention, right? Industrial training, if it's there, you have to mention. This one also you have to mention. Okay. So till now, any doubts? Because these are all the administrative parts. So I am assuming that you are able to fill this on your own. And if you have any doubts till this point, then we can cover them. Otherwise, we can move to this part. Isn't the names of clients confidential? No, it's not confidential. So generally what you have to do is, suppose it's statutory audit. Okay, so statutory audit, anyway, the name is available in the annual report of the company or the financial statements of the company. So it's not confidential. Everyone knows which is the auditor of any given company. That is part one. Second part is that now nature or name of significant clients audited, you can actually, if you have any good clients, any big clients, you can mention their names. If you don't have those big clients, then also you can mention the names. Only thing is regarding confidentiality is that whenever you are mentioning observations, whenever you are mentioning any kind of work experience, uh, they should not be they should not be able to connect, right? That supposing you have mentioned some company here, right? Let's say you have mentioned uh, say HUL, for example, right? That is one of the clients you have audited. So supposing if HUL is mentioned here, then here in all these parts, right? All these parts you cannot write that HUL had an audit observation where their procurement process was faulty or something like that, right? You cannot mention that this was happening with that particular client, because then it becomes an issue of confidentiality. Otherwise, if you write the name of the client, and here you are able to make the client anonymous, right? In all these places, the client name should be anonymous. So here client name will be anonymous. Here you can write the name of the client. Okay. Okay. Now this part is internal audit clients also you can write the name. See, ultimately your objective here is uh, to show to the to show to ITC that you have some big clients, and that is the reason why they've asked this also. That if you have any big clients, you can mention the name. Even for internal audit, it is fine. You can mention the name of your clients. Okay. Now this is something you'll have to write from your own experience. Okay, so in most of the questions which we have here, I'll tell you there are two sections of questions. One is this part. Okay, then there is another part which is here. Okay. Okay, right. So whether it is this part, here you have, I think, around 6 questions, right? Okay, so the 6 questions here plus there are 3 questions there. So total there are 9 important questions which you have to answer. And in all these 9 questions, you basically need to give examples. So what you need to do is, this is useful for your ITC interview. This is useful for any other interview also. So take this task with little seriousness and importance. You need to make a list of your entire work experience, right? Whatever, starting from your articleship, whenever you started, right? So you just go back to the first month where you started, you make an entire list, and this entire list will help you later on also for answering all kinds of HR questions, for making your CV, and for, of course, answering questions like these. So you need to collect as many examples as possible of any kind of work that you've done, any teamwork, leadership, whatever, right? So let's say I start articleship in April 2018. My first client was this particular company. What observations that I had, what is the important learnings that were there, what is the important, whatever, and so those things you try to note, and this thing you try to repeat for each and every client that you've worked on, each and every assignment that you've worked on. So usse kya hoega that you'll have an entire list of say 2-3 pages, which will give you the full source for deciding how to write the answers to this question, and as well as answer all the other questions. So this list you have, which is a very detailed list of your entire work experience. Once you have that list, then answering all these questions becomes very easy. So what was the major learning from your training or project work? You can take any one best example that is there from all your experience, and you can mention that here. Okay. Major recommendations, again, you'll get it from the list only. Any kind of recommendation you can mention. Supposing if you are not able to find a proper recommendation for any reason, supposing you don't have a good answer for all these, then the only option is you'll have to make something up, right? So you'll have to you'll have to take any typical example, and you'll have to get a recommendation, or you'll have to give any to some particular organization. Okay, application which was not accepted. So in the list which you were making, right, the 2-3 page document which I am talking about, in that document you also try to note wherever any negative incident has happened, like supposing there has been a disagreement with some colleagues, supposing there has been any kind of failure with you, so that you can answer questions like, tell me about a time when you made a mistake, tell me about a time, tell me about your greatest failure. All these questions are very common HR questions. So to answer those questions and to also answer questions like these, which is given here, a recommendation which is not accepted, you need to have a few negative experiences noted down, and then you can write it in a proper manner. Proper manner means that you have to acknowledge that this is the reason why I made the recommendation, and then this is the reason why this recommendation was not accepted, and this is my learning of why that recommendation was not accepted. So don't say something like, recommendation was not accepted because the client wanted to. So let's say your recommendation was that there should be higher safety standards for employees, for example, right? That higher safety standards should be there for employees. So you should not write this saying that client wanted to save money, that is why they did not implement the higher safety standards. So you always have to take this positively, saying that it was because of your mistake, or it was because of your lack of full understanding, that your recommendation was not accepted. And then because you were able to learn from your mistake, you were able to rectify. Okay. Here, supposing you are not able to fit it within these 2 or 3 lines, then you can increase the number of lines. You can press enter, and if you press, or you can insert rows. So this is a table. Here, this is not in enable mode, in editing mode. If you put it in editing mode, then you will be able to add rows here. And even though they have written in the beginning that don't edit this form, all these things they've written, but adding rows and doing such things is allowed, and you can actually edit, increase the number of rows. Here, I think if you start typing here, this row itself will start expanding. So supposing if you are able to get your entire answer in this first row, and it is getting into say 2 or 3 lines, then you can delete these last 2 rows. So that is one option where your entire answer is fitting in the first row, and it is like a paragraph. So you are able to delete the other 2 lines. Or the second option is where you write it in all the 3 lines, and you add rows if you are not able to complete it. Okay. So all these three, this is the way you have to answer it. Okay. Cost accountancy, if you have it, you write it. Otherwise, you have to write NA, and you try to write NA in all these places, NA and NA, as wherever there is any kind of.
I have a question in the chat.
Okay, I didn't notice it. Okay, in question 2, we have to tell from our firm's view or from the view of clients we have worked on. Okay, 1 minute. You generally have to show your expertise or your knowledge. So it is better that you give it from your side. But supposing if your firm's observations are better, so supposing if your firm made some kind of recommendation, and that recommendation was say very good, that recommendation was very useful, then you can say that you worked on that particular project, and you were uh, you had a major role, you had a crucial role in giving basically you want to show your own ability and capability, that try can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I think I lost the connection just a minute. Okay. So what I was saying was that this section often gets missed. So supposing if you have some important, is something very important, let's say like a rank, then what you should do is that you should try to mention those things here itself. Okay, so all your rank things you have to mention it here itself, and you can also mention it here. So there's no problem if you mention the same information twice. It the interviewer should not miss it accidentally. So mention your ranks and any important things here, and you mention it. Okay. Work experience. If you have any work experience, then you can mention it. Your articleship experience, you don't have to write here. Articleship already they have asked you earlier, so don't write that here. If you have work experience after, you know, after qualification or even before qualification, but which is not part of your articleship experience, then you can cover it here. Okay, extracurricular, generally don't leave this blank. Write something here. So anything you can write, you know, things like it's already given, examples are given. Anything you've done in school, college, supposing you have attended some event in your institute also, or if you have anything related to your articleship also, supposing you have organized some picnic or anything of that sort, which is, you know, which you can write here. Or supposing if you have organized a family function, okay, so anything you've done in a family function, or you can mention something saying that there were 50 people invited and then I organized everything. So try to write something here, and you can find examples anywhere, but you will be able to fill this. So if you think of examples. Okay. 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 Now this is another important part, which is the 6 questions that are being asked here. Okay, so I'll go one by one. Here, what you need to do is you need to study all this, these, you know, it's already written here, study the mission and core values. And fortunately today, you know, there are tools like ChatGPT which can help you write very good answers for this. Don't use it straight away, don't copy paste, but it can give you a good first draft on what you need to do. So you can go to this ITC portal, go to the ITC annual report, you take out some important key elements, missions, core values, and always try to include an example. So even in this question, don't just say that you know, you are aligned with this value or that value. Give an example which will prove that you are aligned with this particular goal and this particular value. So remember, I was telling you about that list which you need to make of examples, right? So in that list, you should actually include your personal examples also. Anything that you've done in your personal life, college life, school life, or you know, before inter also you've done something. So anything, all those important facts, or things like helping people in COVID. So it is possible that you took care of a family member, or it is possible that you did some kind of volunteering where you know, helped anyone. So all these things, you try to make a note of them in that main document which I was talking about, that 2 to 3 page document, and answer this question using an example. So you will get all the values on this ITC portal. Mostly the values are same, right? It is not that ITC has some special kind of values. If you open HUL's page, you'll get the same values. If you open Nestle, you'll get the same thing. So it is not that there's anything different here. All these companies use the same terms: sustainability and, you know, ethical and stakeholder responsibility. All those things are very common things that all corporates use. So based on that, you can write your answer, and if you mention an example, that will again add a lot of value to this answer. Okay. What do you believe you are best at? How will you contribute in ITC? So here again, you try to think of any one example, any good example that was there in your articleship or in your personal life, and then you try to fit it to anything that you will be able to do in ITC. So let's say that had some good audit experience. So for audit experience, you can mention saying that you have a very good attention to detail, and this attention to detail, you can then mention that example saying that there was an audit where the others were not able to find any major observations, but I was able to study the financial. I was able to study the ERP data in a lot of depth and and I found out that, for example, certain expenses which should have been capitalized, they were not capitalized and they were expensed off as revenue. And this attention to detail, I feel, will be really useful for in my role as a finance manager at ITC, because even at ITC, these roles like financial reporting, financial planning and analysis, and decision making, all these things will be useful. And well, okay, so this one is more or less done. As I said, pattern is same. You have to choose more examples wherever possible. So always try to get more and more examples. And once you have the examples, then writing the answers will become pretty easy. Okay, next is thought leadership, execution excellence. Again, thoda sa it is, a tricky question, and it is something where you will feel like, what should I write here? But pattern is the same. Think of any of your achievements. So you have that 2 to 3 page list where all your assignments are listed, where all your achievements are listed. And you have personal examples as well as professional examples of good achievements. Take any one achievement where there was some kind of leadership and some kind of so here, don't look at this thought leadership and don't look at this execution excellence. You just look at the words leadership. That is one, so you have to cover leadership here and you have to cover execution here. So what they want to know is basically, are you able to get good work done from others? And second is, are you able to do good work? So you need to just are able to, yourself, then that is not a good quality for you as a person who is being interviewed for ITC. At the same time, if you don't have leadership qualities, but don't have this, same thing is applicable. So you can give any example, as I was mentioning, from your articleship, from anywhere else, and you can mold that example, saying that here, this is how I was able to show my leadership skills, and this is how I was able to show my execution skills. So execution skills means anything that you have done yourself, right? So you draft the example in a manner which shows that you have done proper execution of that. Okay. So this is there. I think nothing else is needed here. Describe an incident that had a deep impact. Again, so in all these questions, my advice is the same, that you need to have an example. Any example. So this could be an example where probably you made some kind of mistake. Not necessarily that it has to be that kind of example only, but generally those kind of examples will be slightly better, where you are saying that this is the situation. So you have to mention the situation. For example, where there was some kind of deadline to be met. Okay, so there was some kind of deadline to be met, and you were in a team of 3 people, and you realized that only you were bothered about the deadline. The others were not bothered about the deadline because of some reasons, and then it led to significant conflict between you and the other person. And then you realize that you need to communicate the uh, importance of teamwork better, or you need to communicate the importance of deadline better. And sometimes if you are not proper in the way you engage, then you can cause damage to your relationships, to your professional relationships. So this particular incident had a deep impact on me. And then this part is also important, because you just don't want to show your negative side. You also want to show that there has been a significant change in you. The purpose of this question basically is that if you are making some kind of mistake, if you are making some kind of error, if there's something wrong with you in terms of anything, any quality that is any negative quality about you, are you able to work on that negative quality or not? That is the objective of this question. So you have to talk about that incident. Then you have to talk about how you have changed. And this part is actually more important, because you don't want to put too much emphasis on the incident. You want to put much more emphasis on how you have changed and what is the current use. So it is not, so you basically have to do this fast past you where there was something which was wrong, and then the future you or the current you where you have been able to change that. So that is one way of answering. Another way is a simpler way of answering where you can just you can mention anything, right? You can mention that there was, let's say, some kind of issue in my family, some medical emergency in my family. Let's say a close family member was hospitalized, or a close family member uh, had some kind of illness. Because of that, I realized that all these, things that we care worry too much about, all these things don't matter so much, and family matters more. All these things also you can write, but it is better if you can. So first preference is giving a professional example where you improved yourself. Second preference, agar wo nahi milta hai, then second preference is where you mention some kind of personal example. Okay. Next is career goals. Okay, so career goals you have to right. You have to in a way match what ITC can give. What ITC can give you. That has to match with this first answer, right? So the objective of this question is to know whether you are going to stay with ITC for a long term or you are going to stay with them for a short term. So your professional career objectives, or what would you like to achieve in your professional career, this should match with what ITC can give you. If it matches with what ITC can give you, then ITC is happy that you will be staying here for a long term. If this is not matching, then they have this concern. So how do you write this answer? You basically say that you want to get into a senior finance manager position in your career. You want to contribute to a large company's, you want to contribute to the finance team of a large company, and you want to eventually head the finance function of a particular division, or you want to be responsible for the entire profit and loss of a particular division, and you want to take a finance leadership role at a large, let's say top 10 company in the country, right? This can be your professional goal, which matches with what ITC can give you. Okay, so that is something you can write for this first one. Second one, you can write what are the career choices influencing you, or what are the career choices you have before you. So you can give some very few simple examples. You can give examples like joining industry. Within industry, you can give examples. Okay, so you don't need to go in so much detail. You can just give a few examples saying that you can join industry, you can join Big Four, you can start your own practice. Generally, these are the three career choices most CAs have with them. And in the third question, you have to explain why industry is the best choice for you, because this is basically going into industry. So you have to say that you want to be so you for practice, for practice it is easy to say why practice is not the right choice. Basically, you have to give all the choices here in the second question, and in the third question you have to explain why all choices other than ITC are bad. That is the kind of answer they at least they are hoping you will give, and that is the kind of answer you have to write. So in the second question, you have to write all the choices. In the third question, you have to explain why the other choices are bad and why this ITC choice is good. And so you can write things like, for Big Four, you can write that you want to work closely inside a business rather than consult it from the outside. So you want to be an insider in terms of your role. And that is why you are wanting to, and you want to learn at a large company, large listed entity, large FMCG company. So all these words, which maybe you are not directly calling out ITC saying that ITC is my choice, but you're at least using words which is related to ITC, saying that you want to join a large listed FMCG company, right? So once you mention that, then automatically it becomes that, okay, ITC is your, important choice. Write down any questions that you would like to respond here. You can write any decent question. So you can actually, I have given the detailed answer for this on this question that which is asked at the end of every interview. That do you have any questions for us? So do you have any questions for us? This is the answer you have to write here, and this is the question which you can ask at the end too. Right. So I'll send you that answer in the group. You just remind me on this particular question. And mostly, yeah, so that is the way you'll have to cover this form. Now you can tell me any doubts that you have. Okay.
Yes, sir. So I have a doubt. So
Okay.
basically, for career choices by this form, we have to somehow make it clear that like ITC is offering us either internal audit or finance role. So we have to somehow make it clear from this form that we what is the one of out of two that we want particularly.
Generally, I would suggest not to do that because you don't get a choice on
Yeah.
whether you'll be getting internal audit or whether you'll be
Hmm.
getting finance role. So it is better to appear open to both kinds of roles.
Okay. Also, sir, like when we
So
are
you can actually mention. Huh.
sure, sir, please continue.
Okay. Okay. So I was saying. So yeah, so you can actually mention that you want to be a part of the finance team at a large FMCG company, which will cover both. So a part of finance team means that you are part of internal audit as well as you could be a part of the finance function also.
Okay, okay, sir, got it. Also, sir, like on our ICI portal, we can see that in the remuneration column, it's mentioned that for corporate pool of candidates, it will be somewhere ranging around 23, and for
Right,
business
right.
specific so I just wanted a like clarity on that. I'm not able to understand what it exactly means.
Okay, so see, generally they recruit at two levels. There are three divisions, three or four divisions, which offer this 17 lakh CTC, and the remaining ones they offer 24 lakh CTC. And this you'll get to know after your interview is done. Once they give you the offer
Okay.
letter, they will tell you that which one they are offering you, and then based on available choices, supposing if you have something better than so see if you get the 24 lakh offer, then generally that will be the best offer available
Mhm.
at campus. So I would always suggest you go for that. If you're getting the 17 lakh offer, then it will depend on whether you have better offers at campus. If you have better offers at campus, then you can go for them. Otherwise, you can go for ITC.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And regarding interview preparation, so regarding interview preparation, I am doing a session on 15th, okay, which will be a very detailed. It is like even though it is more for it is like it is covering all companies, but it is very important, especially for ITC because in ITC the technical interviews are very difficult, and there's a question bank also which I'll be giving you with that. So at least for ITC, I really, genuinely feel that you should attend that, and it will really help you in your interviews because ITC interviews generally considered one of the toughest. So which all days do you have your interviews? 23rd, I think it's on is Delhi, right? Or is it Bangalore? 23rd, 25th, right?
Sir,
Which
23rd
two
is
days?
for Bangalore, sir. 22nd is for Delhi.
23rd and 22nd. Okay, okay. Okay, fine. So there will not be any group discussion. Your personal interview will be the one that matters the most. So on personal interview, I'll be conducting a session on Tuesday. Okay.
Sir, is there any
Now,
chance
any more
that,
doubts? Anything else you'd like me to cover?
sir, is there any chance that they're gonna filter candidates before interview?
In ITC, they don't do that. Generally, I've seen that whoever is shortlisted, all of them are interviewed.
Okay.
So it is not possible that you will be rejected based on this form. So that is supposing unless you completely mess it up, then it's a different issue. But generally, based on this form, you will not be rejected as such. It is just that it will be a factor in your entire interview process.
So would it work if we send this form by tomorrow, like EOD, because we received it on Friday and there is no like deadline mentions, just written as soon as possible. So
It is fine. I mean, in fact, if even if you send it by 15th, because see, 15th is a holiday, so you'll get
mhm.
you'll get some time on 15th, and if you send it by 15th night, then they'll be able to see it on 16th, so it'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and if you if any of you want to have want to have ask any specific doubts right after filling the form, then you can ask me personally also. Okay. So
Sir,
anything else?
in the referees column, they have mentioned that you can give a name of some person working in a reputed corporate, na sir?
right?
Sir, can I give some person working in Wipro as in software company, or does it mandatorily have to be in our profession?
No, of course you can mention the name of that Wipro person. How much time have they spent in Wipro?
Sir, but she is actually a senior professional. She's been in the industry for almost 15 years or something.
Then you can mention. Then 100% you can mention.
I don't exactly know how long has she been working with Wipro, but she's working in software industry for 15 years.
Yes, so definitely you can mention that person's name.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, then. So I think you
One
don't have any
question.
other doubts, right? Okay, sure, sure. Go ahead.
Like in the mail, they have mentioned to rename the form with center code. Where can we get that center code, sir?
It's
Center
in
code.
the campus placement portal itself. You just open your profile and you can see your card over there. Just download it and it will have your code.
Right. And it is starting with BN for Bangalore and starting with
Yes,
BEL
sir.
for Delhi.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then. Right. So I'll just close this session and recording also I'll try to share it with you. Right. So you can see that. Okay, then. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.